Welcome to episode 3 of the Fan Cave, a podcast, sports podcast made by a casual for casuals. Going to start this one off with a little bit of news. Dylan Cease signs a 7-year, $210 million contract with the Blue Jays, $30 million average annual value. Way to stumble on my words early. And also, Ryan Helsley signs a 2-year deal with the Orioles with an opt-out after the first year. So a couple big baseball moves in free agency happening here prior to the winter meetings. And then on to the games that I watched for this episode. I didn't watch any of these live. I watched them all after the fact. But I watched Duke versus Arkansas for Thursday. I watched Friday's Bulls versus Hornets. And I watched Saturday's Heat versus Pistons. Now for the Duke versus Duke versus Arkansas game. Patrick, I want to say it's pronounced Gomba, hit an early three-pointer, which, from what I know of him, he's not really a three-point shooter, so that was cool to see. DJ Wagner, a name that I recognize. I remember him being very hyped a few years back, and still rooting for him. Scoring guard. Quite a few names that I recognized in this game, actually, because I recognized the Boozer twins. I recognized Trevin Brazil, Carter Knox, Darius Acuff, Malik Thomas, Caleb Foster, Isaiah Evans, and Dame Sarr. Think I pronounced that right. And now on to the actual game. Duke with 4 turnovers in the first 6 minutes, and they started 1 for 9 from the field. Not a good start for the Blue Devils, even though they were the favorites to win this game. Nicholas, I'm going to butcher this name, Amenya, I'm pretty sure is how they pronounced it, was really impressive in the first half. Really, really high energy guy. Billy Richmond III for Arkansas also really stood out to me. He had a great dunk, a three-pointer, and a really good pass in the first 10 minutes of the game. With 7 minutes left in the first half, Trevin Brazil had an amazing putback dunk. Cam Boozer, in quick succession, had a 3, driving layup, a steal, and an assist. Just all virtually back-to-back-to-back. Cameron Boozer, with about 6 minutes left in the first half, turned it up. With about 4 minutes left, he was already 13, 5, and 2. Nice driving dunk for Cameron Boozer. That man is just really good at basketball. Really excited for him to be drafted in the upcoming year. With 2 minutes left in the half, already 16 second chance points for Duke. And just a note here that another Billy Richmond III note, seems like a really good effort and energy guy. Very Josh Hart-esque, I noticed. Carter Knox, just a simple note on him. I feel like he's going to be a really solid NBA player. Nick Pringle, I think they said this is his 5th or 6th year of college. He's as old as LaMelo Ball. LaMelo is in his 6th year in the NBA, by the way. And Nick Pringle's still in college. And, can't quite put my finger on why, but Malik Thomas really stands out to me. I really, really like Malik Thomas. I don't know why. Can't put my finger on any exact reason, but he just really impressed me. Cameron Boozer, really good passing vision when they doubled him. He ends up with 35 points, and Duke ends up winning at 80-71. Now for the Bulls-Hornets game. Kobe White had the initial assignment guarding LaMelo Ball, which I thought was interesting. Not really a defensive guy, Kobe White, but, interesting. And there was just not much defense being played early at all. I have a note in here just saying, Buzelis, please shave. I don't know what his little beard thing he's got going on is, but he's not pulling it off. Both Kobe White and Patrick Williams had a little homecoming. They're from North Carolina, I believe, both from the Charlotte area. I was watching the Hornets broadcast for this game, and at one point they were interviewing Grant Williams, and he pretty much became a third commentator. He was just talking, and honestly, I'm here for it. Grant Williams would probably make a good commentator. Kobe White had a flagrant one on Moussa Diabate, caught him in the legs. Debatably should have been flagrant 2, but it was called a flagrant 1. I noticed the Bulls going with the zone defense in the second quarter. Con Knippel had 4 fouls with 9 minutes left in the third quarter. Foul trouble for him. He's been a really big part of the Hornets this year. Really been just absolutely carrying the offensive fields With 8 minutes left in the third, Kobe White hit his 1,000th career three-pointer, joining Zach LaVine and Kirk Heinrich as the only Bulls to hit 1,000 threes. Good company to be in. Good for him. Hopefully he'll continue climbing the list, but I don't know. I've heard the Bulls might trade him. I want him to stay a Bull, but I'm also biased. I'm from Illinois. Not a Bulls fan, but I'd like to see Kobe stay. After the Hornets led pretty much the entire game, with 7 minutes left in the third, the Bulls go on a run to tie it at 78. 3.5 minutes left in the third, Bulls take the lead, forcing a lot of turnovers, 17 points off turnovers. And Colin Sexton really impressed me with his inside the arc game. I never really knew he was this good inside the arc. But really, the third quarter was just Kobe White and Brandon Miller going back and forth trading buckets. They were just owning the third quarter. Miles Bridges in the fourth quarter scored a quick 9 points in 3 minutes. Kalkbrenner, he was just blocking everything in sight for a while. He only had 3 blocks on the game, but 2 of them happened in the 3-minute span. Last 3 minutes of the game, I'd add, as the Hornets picked up the win 123 to 116. 20 plus points for Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Colin Sexton, Kobe White, and Josh Giddey. But Trey Jones is the guy who really stood out the most overall for the game. In just 26.5 minutes, 16 points, 4 assists, and a whopping 5 steals. And then the last note I have on this game is just both teams really struggled from 3. Bulls only shot 22.2%. The Hornets shot 33.3%, which is a bit better. That's almost league average, but just it felt like everyone was missing the threes. Now on to the Heat Pistons game that I actually just finished watching as I'm recording this at 4:40 in the morning on December 1st. Cade Cunningham had a really nice block on Bam Adebayo in the first quarter. Pistons end the first quarter on a great 13-0 run. I have a note here just saying both teams play fast. It was a very high-paced game. I loved watching it. It was a lot of fun. Drew Smith, absolute menace on defense. I'm not familiar with Drew Smith's game at all, but man, he was really fun to watch just being a pesky defender. I have a note in here just saying the Pistons cannot stop fouling. They fouled a lot in this game. The Heat responded with the huge run to end the first with their own run in the second, 12-0. Duncan Robinson took the ball off the dribble way more than I would ever expect from him. I don't know if that's something he's added to his arsenal with the Pistons or he's always done that, but a lot of catch and drives from him. Pistons defense is just crazy in the passing lanes. Both defenses were insane to watch. Pistons, specifically Cade, a lot of turnovers in the late game. Cade ended with 8 turnovers. The team ended with 21 overall. Pistons, in a close game, had a lot of people close to fouling out. Isaiah Stewart, Cade Cunningham, and Star Thompson all ended the game with 5 fouls. But Dennis Jenkins ices the game at the free throw line. Pistons win at 138-135. Heat had the hell of a comeback attempt. They were down by 22 at one point and ended up only losing by 3. And in the game with a 17-7 run in the last 2.5 minutes. The Heat outscored the Pistons by 14 in the fourth quarter. Tobias Harris had a season high 26 points, but the guy who really stood out to me was Paul Reed. Only 19 minutes, but he had 13 points, 10 rebounds, and it just felt like he was everywhere. Felt like he was everywhere on offense, everywhere on defense. He really made an impact. Heat ended up with 16 more free throw attempts, and this is the 4th straight meeting between these two teams decided by just 1 possession, which is crazy, and I think they said the Pistons had won all those meetings. Now I'm actually going to not forget and bring up the charts for the watch games. So NBA, I add in the Heat and the Pistons. There they are. With 1 game watched. Only team I've watched more than once so far is the Cavs. I still have a lot of teams to check off the list for watching this season. And then the Bulls and the Hornets, also one-time watches. Going to college basketball, added Duke and Arkansas to the list with BYU, UConn, Purdue, and Texas Tech, all with 1 game watched. I'm not sure how the spread is going to be for the NCAA chart because I'm only going to watch teams with prospects that I'm interested in pretty much. But with the NBA, I plan on watching every team as equally as I can. That's going to do it for this episode of The Fan Cave. Thank you for watching or listening, and goodbye.